manifesto, the first of the parties to launch their manifesto now. I'll give you a quick look at the front page there. Straight talking is going to be their slogan. Bit of noise in the background from people organising this conference. But let's have a discussion about exactly what their prospects are for this general election. I'm joined here by the former leader, Nigel Farage. You don't tend to do very well at general elections, UKIP.
Well, you're comparing that with 2005. You see, what had happened is we'd done well in 2004. We did disastrously badly in 2005 because the party had been through a massive rift with Robert Kilroy-Silk walking out and trying to collapse the whole thing. That situation is not the case this time. We came second in the European elections last year across the entire UK. We're a united party. We've got over 500 candidates going into this election, and we're the only party talking straight to the British people about issues that concern them, like immigration and like the need for cuts in the public sector. So do not compare this election with 2005.
Interesting, the two things you picked out there, immigration and public sector cuts. No mention of Europe, and of course that's because Europe doesn't play at general elections, does it?
Oh, look, we cannot control our borders. We cannot decide who comes to live, work and settle in Britain, all the while we're part of this European Union. And that's the message that, of course, the Lib Lab Con don't want to talk about. We will make sure that it is a major election issue.
It's difficult, though, in this time when things are tight between the main parties. That tends to squeeze smaller parties like yours, doesn't it?
Well, things are tight between the so-called major parties. However, over half the electorate at this stage are saying they don't intend to vote for the mainstream. Many of those people will be looking to put their vote somewhere else. And in UKIP, they see a party. Yes, we've had our ups and downs, there's no question about that, but they see a party prepared to talk straight on the major issues of the day, wanting to give us a referendum on our EU membership, wanting to control our borders, and wanting to get our finances back on a proper footing. And that may be very appealing to people who otherwise wouldn't vote for anybody.
You talk about straight talking. Give us some straight talking on how many seats you think you can win.
Well, look, I think we're going to get a lot more votes than we got in 2005, and I think we've got a better than 50% chance of making our first breakthroughs into the Westminster Parliament. I know that under first past the post this is tough, but once we get that toehold, just watch us.
Just one final point. Will you run candidates against Eurosceptic Conservatives?
Well, Eurosceptic Labour for that matter. Look, let's forget about this as being a left or right-wing issue. The question of who governs Britain is the most important national question that faces us today. There will be sitting members of Parliament with good track records against whom we will not put candidates. But in the vast, vast majority, in 98% of cases, these are people that have allowed the Lisbon Treaty to go through, breaking their promise on a referendum, and will fight against them.
Okay, Nigel Farage, thank you very much. Well, later on this afternoon at 3:30, you can see Lord Pearson, the new leader, his speech to the conference, live on BBC News. Back to you in the studio.
Gary, many thanks for that, and we will have Lord Pearson, as Gary's saying, at 3:30 on the channel.